Hello and welcome to this episode of Watch Out for Fireballs on Ocarina of Time. This is the preview episode for our premium episode this month. If you're hearing this is on the general feed. This goes up through the generalities. It's about 2 hours, a little bit less, but it's quite meaty. If you want to hear the full thing, though, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Second little announcement I have is, unfortunately, we have had to cancel our appearance at Midwest Gaming Classic. I don't know if the con's still going on, but we are living in a global pandemic. And even though me and Cole are both hardy Adonises, we have people in our lives who are not, and we did not want to get anybody sick. So we're coming up with plans, some kind of e-thing or virtual thing or other con to take the place of that. Stay tuned. We are still going to do something. So until next time, I appreciate you and enjoy the episode. My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time, which is an action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo for the N64 in 1998.
Yeah, and this is our premium episode for the month, which means that everybody's hearing this part.
Yes.
But if you want to hear the whole thing, you gotta be a patron.
Yes. So it's going to be a big one, honestly. So the generalities here are going to be very spicy. There is a lot about this game.
Yes.
But to hear us talk about the particulars of dungeons and things like that, that will be in the full product.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, the essential conflict of this episode, I was talking about this in the green room,
right,
is fun versus import.
Yeah.
Or innovation, because it is really, really difficult to separate the Ocarina of Time from the experience and seeing it in 1998 versus playing it as an adult who has played video games since 1998. And I am in a weird spot, with this, where it's like, I respect it. A lot of its design decisions feel like they are onboarding for gaming, which I respect.
Yes.
I had, and I'm, not trying to be exaggerating or anything. And there's no, this is your reminder to everybody as well that if we wanted to do clickbaity shit to give listeners and have takes, we would have different takes.
Yes.
We generally don't do that. I had very little fun playing this game. I don't think this is very fun in 2020 to play.
Right. Yeah.
I frustrated a lot.
Yeah, especially in kind of the back half of it, but kind of generally there's a pattern of way too much friction that's happening here. And I'm in the same boat as you, Gary, where I don't know, me at 11 years old playing this when it first came out, that person is still in there. You can never kill that part of you. And even looking at this and taking an inventory of all the things that Ocarina of Time solidified or did the prototypical version of, that is historically interesting and cool and fucking admirable, because go back to the Atari episode where we talk about somebody needing to invent the concept of moving to a different screen,
Yeah.
But adventure, even though I did that, it's still pretty rough to go back to nowadays, even if it was mind blowing at the time. This is obviously, substantially different than that, but conceptually it feels very similar.
Yeah, there's some innovation things. There's also some things that I think there's going to be like a billion pet issues in this episode, because like one of the other things is some of the innovations are console curve innovations. Mm-hmm. You know, things that like are not actually that new or interesting. They're just new to the console market. Mm-hmm. And that's always going to be a bugbear for me, where somebody is like, oh, it's the first game to do this. And I'm like, nope. You know, like PC games were doing it. Yeah. You just didn't play them. And like, I'm not saying that doesn't matter to your experience. I'm saying that it matters in terms of like giving credit for a brand new thing.
Yes.
You know, so there's that element. There is the element also when you talk about what this codified, there are the good things it codified in terms of 3D action games. It's also responsible for like me not liking Zelda games for a very long time. Yeah. Like as somebody who loves Zelda 1, 2, and 3 and loved them all when they came out, this is the game that started all of the things I don't like about Zelda. Yes. I'm not exaggerating. Like everything that I don't like about Zelda started here, or maybe a little bit in Link's Awakening, but were restrained from having the Game Boy-ness. Yeah. Like Link's Awakening had the like absolutely obtuse inventory fuck-aroundery, you know, all the time, shit like that. Yeah. There's something I like Link's Awakening a lot more than this game. But there are some things that game does. Yeah. They're not great. And I love Majora's Mask, but not because of how it plays. It's just because of how weird it is. And then, bam, there's like 10 games that I don't want to play ever again in my life, all of which I have touched, and it doesn't get good again until Link Between Worlds.
Right.
And then it's good again, and I'm like, oh shit, Zelda. You know, and then Breath of the Wild, I'm like, oh shit, Zelda. But this is the game where they, like, Nintendo trapped themselves in an Ocarina of Times shaped cage.
And they also trapped a lot of the industry too, because for as many, you know, people who took like the lock-on combat, and like the, you know, the open and relatively populated world, you know, like all those, you know, good things. There was also, you know, like 15 years of, you know, 15 years of very bad copies of this. Yeah. Go and listen to Abject Suffering, you know, to hear us talk about like Star Fox Adventures or that Skittles game that came out. Like this kind of became the model for very talky, you know, very collecty, just kind of bland games.
Yeah, Hero's Journey with go get, you know, a certain number of things and you get an item and you use that item on the boss.
Yes.
And then in, you know, the most disappointing thing, then never really use that item again most of the time.
Yep. No, there's very little synthesis except in the final dungeon here. So I want to take this moment to, you know, reiterate what you said, Gary. If we were just trying to make everybody happy, we would be far more glowing about this. You know, this is a game that people love. It is so important. It was important to me. I have fantastic memories of this, but we're not going to modulate that way because I don't have an awful lot of substance to say if I'm pretending to be uniformly positive on this.
I don't pretend anything. Like I can't pretend on the show. I don't pretend.
No. And so like understand that us taking a look at this and saying the negative things that we are about both this game and kind of what it did to this series in general, we intend no disrespect to you. Oftentimes we try to avoid this kind of hedging. I just know that this is something that a lot of people, you know, take pretty seriously. They care about it. They hold it close to their heart. And I understand that, but you know, I would just ask you to be kind or, you know, be gracious and hear us out. And if we're making you angry, turn us off, but maybe don't yell at us.
Don't need to just like set through it if you don't like it. Like it's a thing too, where I think also that any, like a critical like an honest critical evaluation, nothing is beyond that. Yeah. You know, I don't understand the idea that like something, because it's important to a childhood is beyond this. And there's going to be tons of things that are just like subjective, where it's like, because of kid memories or just because, you know, different sensitivities, I'm going to be like, yeah, it sucks how much backtracking this is. Or like the lens of truth sucks the stars from the sky. It's just, it's like how Daredevil is a blind guy who has the superpower to see.
Yep.
It's like, it's that in item form. It's horrible. Yeah. You know, the boots suck. I'm going to say those things and you're just gonna be like, no, the boots are the boots. Like to me, this is just elemental
Yeah.
You know, there's no good or bad to it. It's just Ocarina of Time. And I think that like treating something like that as untouchable is actually doing it an immense amount of disrespect.
Yes.
And it's something that even like the creators don't. Like the creators of this have come out against like the Water Temple, like for example. Like they've been like, yeah, that sucked. Like we tried to fix it in the remake, but we did a bad job on that.
Yes.
Like even the people who made this are not saying that it's untouchable. So I would encourage people not to consider any of your media untouchable, but certainly not a game from 1990, you know, a 20-year-old game.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. So, you know, in my head, when I'm modeling the, you know, kind of the ideal audience for this, it would be somebody like us who probably played this a little, you know, played this and beat it voraciously around the time that it came out. Didn't touch it again for a while. Like maybe when it came out on Virtual Console or whatever. And then is coming back to it, you know, like from the 3DS re-release onward, let's say.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to make you happy if this is a game that you replay every winter.
exactly. You know, or you could be the kind of person who's like, yeah, I'm interested in this intellectually. I'm not going to let my emotions get wrapped up into it. And if that's you, kudos.
Yeah.
You know, good job. Because I think that's the way to be. If you're not that person, that's great. I think that's a good thing to strive for, though, is just like, yeah, I can handle this. Like, I don't have to agree with all these criticisms.
Yeah.
You know, I love the Noah Caldwell Gervais video on BioShock Infinite, but he's wrong about every aspect of it. Like, you know, I love that man. I think he's one of the best critics working right now. I think he's so wrong about that game as to be like a weird fucking anomaly. So,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't mean that I disrespect him and I didn't go in the comments and scream at him or anything.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't want to spend like too much more time kind of bracing for this, but you know, I have had anxiety
setting
dreams.
expectation.
Yeah, I've had anxiety dreams where like we release this and then our Patreon goes down to 0.
Oh, it'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, in some ways, I would respect that as like just like, huh?
Okay.
You know, this in many ways, this year in this election cycle has been learning what's really important to people.
Yep.
And just being like, huh? I guess that's what's really important to people.
Wow, I was not plugged into that at all. Weird.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So this might surprise you, but in this game, you play as Link as you explore Hyrule and seek to rescue Princess Zelda from the evil Ganondorf.
I almost considered not putting that in the notes, Gary. But I
was
always
just trying to segue back in. Maybe nobody knows this game. It's wild if somebody listened to this and they're like, yeah, I don't know Ocarina. Ocarina of what?
This is like a weird flute.
Yeah. What the fuck's an Ocarina?
The recorder of continuity. Yeah. No, and this is the 5th Zelda game to come out, and it's the first 3D Zelda game, which makes it noteworthy for reasons that we talked about before and we're going to talk about in the future. This is kind of one of the handful of franchises that jump from 2D to 3D while still retaining a good amount of what made the originals kind of, you know, feel like they did.
Make it recognizable.
Yeah, recognizable. Yeah. There we go.
It's like this and Mario, and this is built on a heavily modified version of the engine for Mario 64. And actually, like, I'm not the biggest Mario 64 fan in the world, but I think that there is some like lessons in comparing those two adaptations.
Yes.
You know, which we'll talk about in the beginning of the real part of this episode, because one of my problems with this game is the absolutely intense and overbearing onboarding it does early on.
Yeah.
And as opposed to Mario 64 was like, hey, you're in a field. Wouldn't it be fun to jump? Oh, wait, you can do it twice? And then that pure feeling of expression and movement is not the same thing here. They go for a different way.
I saw a backflip in the commercial. Let me try it. Oh, shit. I just have to press these two buttons. Cool.
Yeah, it feels so good. Like, I love the tutorial of Mario 64, even if I think the back half of that game kind of falls down.
Yeah.
So in basic terms, what you do is you control Link from a third person. You use your sword, your shield, and use a wide variety of items in order to defeat enemies and solve puzzles in an overworld, do side quests, things like that, and then go into dungeons, which are kind of the famous part of the franchise.
Yes. And, you know, things that move to 3D from 2D, the area where they fall down is like the camera and the combat. You know, what happens when you cannot control where the camera is looking? Well, they kind of solved that problem by introducing something called Z targeting. So the camera in this is automatic. Like you can't actually there's the C buttons are mapped to your different items. So you can't figure out where it's going, you can't point the camera where you want it to point. But when you engage in combat, you hold down the lock on button, your little fairy flies over next to the enemy and the camera stays focused on them. And you lock on and point directly at them.
Yes. There are lock-ons that predate this, right? Like Mega Man Legends came out before this, and that has a lock-on.
Yeah.
This is the specific way this works as to kind of enemies. This is kind of codified it.
Yeah.
As a thing. I'm pretty sure like Mega Man Legends predates this.
I believe Mega Man Legends was 99, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought in Japan it predated this, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless of which, they roughly, same kind of development time, right? Like they're both being made at the same time. This was the solution to this.
Yes.
And for the time, this is good. I prefer later lock-ons.
Yeah.
Like this one, there are a couple weird little Bush League things that they're hammering out the details. So like it's functional. You lock onto the enemy, so you are now facing it all the time. It changes your move set so you can dodge. I think it's clever to tie your dodge rolling and such to your backflips and side steps to being locked on, because those are the situations which you need it. I think that's a good economy of buttons.
Yeah.
What is kind of frustrating to me is that it's the same button that points the camera forward.
Yes.
And you have to be looking at something to lock onto it, as opposed to locking on to whatever is closest. So, honestly, I think that the diegetic explanation for this is the big problem. Having it be related to the fairy. The time that it takes the fairy to fly somewhere, getting the fairy to recognize something is friction.
Yeah.
That makes me take hits in this game. Like there are enemies that are too fast to lock onto reasonably quickly. And there are enemies that are too behind you to lock onto before they smack you in the butt.
Additionally, if there are multiple enemies, and when you're fighting something that is like a duel, like a style pose or something like that, this isn't necessarily the case. But like if you're dealing with a bunch of smaller enemies, the inability to quickly cycle through targets is a later innovation that I ended up missing as well.
And one of the ways they do multiple duels, if you're fighting two regularly human-sized enemies, the way they handle it is one of them just kind of basically sits out the battle, which I didn't recognize for a little while. I was nervous about that second guy. I realized he just wants to watch.
He's just over there standing. He's biding his time.
Fight Club, Kid versus Skeleton edition. What if a kid fought a skeleton? I gotta see how this plays out.
That little guy hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, I know what he does. He's gonna, it's like, oh shit.
Forgiveness, please.
Kid's got moves. So that's kind of how they handle that. And at its absolute, there's a lot of things, that I'm going to say this about in this game. At its best, it's really good. At its worst, it's really not. And it's not consistent.
Yeah.
Because when this is at its best, you're fighting an Iron Knuckle, you're fighting a Staphos, it's pretty fun.
Yep.
This combat system works pretty well. Ironically, something that is an absolute joy in previous Zeldas, which is mowing through bats and small enemies, sucks ass in this game.
Yep.
It's horrible. Switching either trying to get the lock on to work or switching to first person to use range weapons, which allows you to kind of aim using the stick. If you're doing the 3DS version, you can make minute adjustments by tilting the system.
That feels so good.
It works. It's necessary because otherwise, it's really hard to aim. And we both played the 3DS remake of this, just for clarification's sake. And if you're going to play this again, or for the first time, I totally recommend it. I cannot imagine going back to the Nintendo 64 version for basically anything.
Yeah.
The inventory stuff is worth the price of admission. So having to switch into that mode to aim at a little bat or just do it is doesn't work or is kind of tedious. It is not fun fighting small things. It's only fun fighting mini bosses.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah. It just weirdly when you're fighting little things or especially flying things, it ends up it feels like you're trying to control it with mittens. There's a distance. There's a distance or an encumbrance between, intention and action. which is, a problem they just didn't manage to solve, and they still kept the flying enemies in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it ends up being, interfacing with like a real pet bugbear I have with the series, which is the obsession with destructible equipment.
Yeah.
Like, and just having a flaming bat come and destroy my shield and giving me a chore.
Yeah.
To do, and sometimes they give you a shield right then, but then it's like, why do it? In the first place, but then like giving me a chore to go gather up enough money and buy another shield. What does that add?
Yeah. I shouldn't need to leave the dungeon once I'm in the dungeon.
Yeah. That's crazy town.
Yeah.
Sugarfly baby.
But yeah, like I found myself engaging more with the duel style stuff, in this playthrough. Probably because since the last time I played this, I have played many Dark Souls games,
yes.
Where you are doing the lock on and dodge kind of stuff. And it's fun. Like it's real fun to like bait people out. Yeah.
Yeah. There's kind of like a recurring thing where a lot of times enemies, will just kind of be invincible for a time and then not be invincible.
Yes.
That's not super fun. Like the wolf.
The
enemies.
wolfos. Yeah.
Yeah, Wolfos is not super fun to fight. Like, there's some of those that are not so good, but every time I was fighting a skeleton or a knight, I was pretty into it.
Yes.
So those are fun fights in this. I'm sure you have a point about this later, or we'll talk about it in general or in the next part of the episode. I think the bosses are also generally fun.
Yeah.
The issue being is in a game where you have to do quite so much backtracking, most of the rooms are going to be filled with these small fries that I don't think are very fun to fight.
Yeah. And enemies refresh immediately when you leave a room.
Yes.
So if you have to like come back through, you're going to have to end up dealing with those. And that ends up being a problem of like, dang, all those spiders that I cleared off the wall, those are back now. Stuff like that.
It just ends up being like a task.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the enough keys to go through the linear path of the forest dungeon. I have to go get another key every single time I go and test that thing and unlock the next one. There's that room with the 2 flaming skulls I have to block and then hit, twice.
Yeah. And yeah. And this gets to something that feels true of 3D Zeldas that is not true of 2D Zeldas, which is the only axis on which like difficulty or complexity can be added is to add more friction to the backtracking, add more complexity, add more things that you just kind of need to do over and over again. Yes, the order of operations to clear a large complex space does get just a little bit more complicated, but by and large, the consequence for failure or for suboptimal performance is going to be covering a lot of ground again.
Yes. And that's, if you had to like pin down, well, I guess I would. Like, there's many. If you had to pin down my top 3 like issues that made this not fun to me, that would be one of them.
Yeah.
Is just the sheer amount of like empty backtracking that you do. The way that your actions that are not combat related are generally done through a single button that are contextual. So this made the control scheme, simplified it for the N64 controller. Can do some minor friction in that, like, oh, do I want to push a block or do I want to climb on it, and just not waiting quite long enough for that kind of thing. But generally this works pretty well.
Yeah.
And is fine.
It's much better than having like a different button for push or a different button for grab and a different button for climb. I think that would have been a nightmare, especially in the N64 controller.
Yeah. I just kept thinking, why doesn't just pushing up against it long enough make me climb it? Like in other video games.
Yeah, like they do in video games. Additionally, like jumping and mantling are handled automatically. This just depends on like where you run and how fast. This actually works pretty well. I remember being a kid and being super bummed out that I couldn't like jump around like Mario. That felt like I'm in 3D, I'm running, I should be able to just be jumping all the time. No, this isn't that kind of game.
Yeah, for sure. And it ends up, so this is something I'm gonna, again, I am going to be a gray lining on a silver cloud, like win something, because I recognize that as cool. Child Gary, which I mean an 18-year-old man who could vote and go to war, who played this, like red carpet shampooer, did think that was really neat. Like was bummed out that I couldn't jump, but liked how they handled it.
Yeah.
Now I keep having I have this feeling of playing it where it's like, so the way it works is you run up to the ledge, you'll automatically jump. Why put that there? You know, like if it could just be a path, like there's no difference between a square and a square with a square space between them that I can jump over in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What is the idea behind even making a jump there in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the jump in this game is really weirdly vestigial. Like, not that I wanted a jump button and wanted to do platforming. It's more like, why even have these gaps?
I think it might be like an Uncharted thing where they wanted to make it cinematic. Like, hey, you're high up and it needs to feel like you're doing some acrobatics, right?
And a lot of this game, I think, is about the illusion of like epicness and like the cadence of adventure. You know, like the feeling of all these kind of elements, none of which I think are excellent, kind of adding up to a gestalt that feels adventure-y. You know, and there's a skill to that. It just doesn't speak to me as much as it did when I was younger, you know?
Yeah. And like it added up before, but somehow the numbers decayed in the intervening 22 years.
They're different. So like when I was doing this, I was like, okay, you know, I know Link to the Past does a lot of the same stuff. Do I still like Link to the Past? And the answer is yes. And it's not nostalgia. Like Link to the Past starts with a dungeon that's full of action. Like you immediately, like you wake up and you go into a dungeon. Like it is starts a medias race. Like it is a very differently paced game, even though it is talkier than, you know, I prefer. And it introduces some of these things. It's restrained by the fact that it's on a Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not quite as cinematic. It's not quite as, you know, it still gives you that feeling of adventure, but there's a greater sense of play to it.
Yeah.
So the platforming in this game, again, and it's not really used for puzzles, I guess, is the other thing.
Yeah.
That is frustrating. Like the interactive part of this is eyeballing a gap to see if you think you could make it. And usually if there's a gap, you can make it, or there wouldn't be a gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later it's eyeball a gap and think, okay, will the hover boots give me the slight edge that I need to make that? Nope. I fell and I'm back at the beginning of the big room.
Yep.
Okay.
You gotta climb back up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So jumping does add the peril of more backtracking if you hit it at the wrong angle and just kind of whiff it. So
yeah.
So that's a little bit of a bummer. Something that is simultaneously less of a bummer and also a big one is the items you can get. So like there are items in this. I think the hook shot is a miracle. You know, in 3D, like even coming back to it and recognizing how limited it is compared to like what ideally the grapple hook would be. Like it feels good. Shooting the bow and arrow feels good. You know, you expand Link's capabilities by, finding these items, which are like the headlining pickup in that particular dungeon. Right. However, like I guess I forgot how many pickups were just like non-functional upgrades to things that you are already able to do.
Yeah. It's surprising because I think when people think about this game, they're thinking about, oh yeah, like hookshot, bow, and not thinking about the second half of the game where you get nothing of consequence.
Right.
Like the gamer part of me that enjoys the treat, starves on the back half of Ocarina of Time, where like, my treats are heart pieces and like, again, those fucking hover boots, which, are kind of neat, but are just so situational. Like everything, this has been like weird Metroidvania month in a way because tons of Metroidvania DNA in this. And it's a lot of items that do the crime of only being useful as essentially a key. The hover boots are a key to a certain like quote unquote puzzle. Whatever you'd want to call like a slightly longer gap. The iron boots are used in that dungeon, but never used elsewhere. The hammer is like a backup weapon you can use, but there's not really a good reason to outside of like, bodying Dark Link. There's just kind of limited stuff. And this has gotten worse as the series went on. Like this is a problem in Link to the Past, but there are exceptions to this as well.
Yeah.
There are bits that are kind of more creative uses or some cross uses.
Yeah.
Here it feels very like, how often did you use the boomerang after the boomerang dungeon? And the boomerang's an iconic, cool Zelda weapon.
Yeah.
Like in later in say A Link to the Past, like I used that shit in combat up until I got the hook shot. Not really a reason to. anymore. Like I can.
No. Like it
yeah.
only comes up like it'll pop up in like the 2 dungeons that you have to go to as Child Link.
Yeah.
Like specifically to hit a switch that's behind a wall.
Yep. But it's not something that's like integrated very well into the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that lack of integration, gets to a major thing that is, that was present in Link to the Past, but is a real problem here. We alluded to this. Items are really only useful in the dungeon where you found them. Yes, there are alternate strategies for certain bosses. There are some edge cases. Like, I understand you can use the iron boots to like not get blown away by those fans in the Shadow Temple. There's very little like, I guess, accumulation of interactions that they expect you to rise to. In the dungeons after where you get an item.
Yes. And this can be, this is more of a problem in later Zeldas. Mm-hmm. This is a problem here, but it's something that got worse. And I don't want anyone with all of the, these things like just think that I'm saying that Ocarina is the only game that does this.
No.
Like I have enough criticism in my heart for the whole series that does this. Like any game that does this kind of thing is going to get some of this, right? Like it's not like, and same thing when we get to Navi, like I understand that Fee is worse. Like I understand Fee is way worse, but that doesn't make Navi good. Like it doesn't, the worst is not the enemy of the bad. You cannot, they both can exist.
God, that's the most waff-ass thing I've ever heard anybody say.
Like, it's just, this is the thing that's on our plate. We're talking about Ocarina now. I know Fee sucks. So this is a bummer, the kind of lack of integration and using this stuff out in the world, things like that. It's not a huge deal. But it does cut down on that feeling of like empowerment, I think.
Yeah.
You also end up getting some items like way late that are just like either straight up useless or like just don't have enough uses. Mm-hmm. In the game, like, Mirror Shield is cool, but I didn't use it very often. Like, other than a couple puzzles in that final dungeon and the boss that's needed for. Yeah. Like the ice rod, or ice arrows rather. That wasn't worth it. Like
that was a long dungeon.
Yeah, that was a long, really bad, like really annoying dungeon.
Yeah.
Why
though? Additionally, after you get an important item like the hook shot, arrows, etc., it's really, really obvious where in the world you're supposed to use them, to the point where like figuring out how to deploy things, you're never really thinking around corners. It's pretty much just like there is a combination of geometry that acts as a sign that says use hook shot here to get the heart piece. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no like kind of sim elementness to the hook shot, which is my big disappointment. Like, redesign this game so it's very expressive and you can grapple onto most things. Mm-hmm. Like some arcane shit would be cool.
Yes.
And this is not that. It's always just going to be individual points, which kind of reduces this thing that is about the freedom of movement to its aesthetics, which I agree are really good. Like in general, I think the kinesthetics of this are great.
Yes.
Like everything feels good and sounds good. Like presentation wise, I have no problems with this. It's just in what I'm doing with my hands.
Right. It's just in what it all adds up to. That's how you spend your time here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking about, this is just something Will said that I again, waff-ass things, right? Like we were talking about when people dismiss a criticism of something by saying it's optional, right? Like, in Axiom Verge, we're like, hey, getting these lore notes sucks. And someone's like, well, you don't have to get them. And I was saying how like something being optional is not a very good answer to a criticism. And Will was like, yeah, video games are optional. I was like, yeah, like every part of the game is fucking optional, man.
Yeah.
Like I can just like walk away. Saying like a part of it is optional does not really mean very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Additionally, to go back and address that straw man, the problem isn't that they're optional. It's that you accidentally stumble upon them in lieu of something else that would be cooler when you're just exploring.
Cost.
Yeah, it's the opportunity cost. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a big selling point or kind of hook or gimmick to this game is the ocarina, the titular ocarina, which is a little tiny flute that they sold in Nintendo Power forever.
Up until the last issue of Nintendo Power, I think they were still running that fucking ad.
Yeah. So you could get a replica ocarina, unofficial. And this, you can play melodies that are basically spells.
Yes.
They do different effects. This is something where, I like all of these individual songs and I have nostalgia for them. the process of playing them takes time that I don't want to spend. And I know that makes me sound like a baby, but you do it a million times.
Yeah.
Like in any of the situations where you have to continuously play a song.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at you like, Water Temple, where you play the song to change the dealie.
Yeah.
Or anytime you're playing a song to affect a dungeon in general. It just takes a bunch of time. Gotta watch this animation. Gotta go in and try to remember the song. Gotta look at the songbook.
Yeah, it's like the weird like spell effect part of it. As the rest of the melody plays out, that actually takes up too much time. It's like weirdly congruous with like summons in Final Fantasy a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah,
and it's not as long, but you'll be doing them way more often.
Yes.
So it's like I don't love these. Like having a different song for fast travel. I don't love it. Like I just feel like it's again that friction piece.
Yes.
And this is aside from the fact that I do have affection for a bunch of these songs, like a lot of, we have a whole bullet point on aesthetics. So if you're just being like, yeah, but the Forest song is so fucking good. Sorry, song is good. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is really good.
Like it's fucking, like what I mean, we'll talk about it there. I like for what it's worth, I like messing around with this as an item. Like again, casting back to 11-year-old Cole. Like I would hold the N64 controller up to my mouth and press the buttons. I realize that is like super dorky, okay? But like I was into it, man.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
it is super dorky.
Yeah.
Nobody buy Cole's virus encrusted Nintendo 64 controller off eBay unless you want to clone him like Jurassic Park.
I didn't blow into it. I just
sure you didn't.
I'm trying to be more vulnerable, Gary.
No, I appreciate it. I'm just gonna smack you down though every single time.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to make you less vulnerable. I'm trying to toughen you up for this big bad world. The Lee R. Emery of for fireballs, you maggot. No, I just think it's funny.
Yeah,
I think if I'd said the same thing, you would have laughed as well.
I probably would have. Or no, if you had said the same thing, I would say, "Hey, I did that too. Cool, man."
Well, la-di-da.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is fun to have a musical instrument as a thing. And it's like they do a lot of work with those 5 notes.
Yeah, it's a miracle of composition, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Like they do some good work with this. It's really cool in concept. It was 1,000 in the Nintendo 64 version. This was way more intolerable because you'd have to get out the item.
Yeah.
Again, just in terms of what the 3DS does is just map it to a button that's always there.
Yeah.
That's very smart. So
very smart. Other
big twist.
So we have the Ocarina of Time, but that's not necessarily like the time travel part of this. The time travel part of this is that after 3 dungeons, after you collect like the 3 sacred stones or whatever, you get into the Temple of Time and Link grabs the Master Sword. But as he is too young, basically the forces of time keep him in stasis for 7 years. And then you play the rest of the game as adult Link in this darker world that is ruled by this oppressive Ganondorf. Adult Link can't use all the same items.
Yes.
Yeah, and you are kind of like going back through and kind of like unlocking these areas from scratch again, kind of.
Do you remember how you felt, Cole, when you turned to the age where you could no longer throw a boomerang?
I feel like my boomerang skills have only gotten better or stayed the same over time.
No, that's what I think. I feel like my boomerang skills have largely stayed the same. Yeah. But according to Legend of Zelda, you forget.
Yep.
I forgot how to hold a stick. Fuck. I'm too old now. I've got pubes, so I can't hold a branch.
Catches fire in my hand, turns to ash.
So this is, I think, again, going to be a gray lining on stuff. I really wish more was done with the time travel in this.
Me too.
I love time travel stories. The moment where you come out and everything is dark and fucked up. Really cool.
Yes.
Like, undeniably super cool.
Even just seeing how the castle town square is just now full of re-deads just like looming there, like great. Top 10 moment for me.
Really cool. But what is like less cool is that the only way that the time travel interfaces is through planting seeds to get collectibles, or through the weird like closed time loop Song of Storms thing, which I actually like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not used in puzzles really. Like, and a big reason why it's not used in puzzles and talking about friction is that every time you want to make this swap, you have to go back and stick the sword back in the hole.
Yes.
That was a horrible move on behalf of the designers in terms of like scope of this, because if you could do that from playing a song or something, you could have this be an element of puzzles in the dungeon.
Yeah.
And that's a really good idea. Like being able to advance time 7 years and like, oh, like this bridge is rickety and stuff, but if I go back 7 years ago, it's still in good shape. Like you could have had puzzles.
Yeah.
Instead of what you have instead of puzzles, which are, like whatever you would call like what Zelda calls puzzles.
Yeah. Well, like we need to Prince of Persia Warrior Within this shit,
It would be amazing. Like it's a really cool idea. And it's frustrating to me because Link to the Past does this right. Like they give you a mirror you can use whenever you want.
Yes.
To swap between worlds. Like you get those little teleporters to do it in a limited sense, but then eventually you can just go and teleport. It happens really quickly, as opposed to playing the song to teleport back, watching the animation for that, watching the animation to turn back into a Kid Link, and then huffing your way back to where you wanted to be a kid.
Yeah.
It's not necessary very often, but that doesn't make it better. It ends up making it kind of worse to me because it's a really big missed opportunity.
It's weird because these headlining aspects of the game, the Ocarina and the adult and Kid Link, and the fact that the world gets worse in the future, like it implies that this is going to be a kind of game that it is not. And I think that, like, for me, I went back into this remembering that there was more interaction between the past and the future, right? And I was really like, like some of the wind was taken out of my sails when I realized how limited the expression of that idea is.
You
in play, specifically.
The lion's share of the game just as adult Link running around.
Yeah.
Like it's basically, has a prologue as child Link, and then your adult Link, and then one little blip.
Yes.
With a dungeon that's bisected, but it's not very much play between those two things. Yeah. And like the first time I did the seed thing, that's really neat, but it has the cadence of another collectible because there's just patches and seeds you can buy, and there you go. Every single one of them leads to a Skulltula or a heart container because your reward structure is constrained by your inventory, or your economy in a video game, and that's a big thing here.
Yes.
So it's also like when you say supposed to be a game that it's not supposed to be, one of the other things I was thinking about, and you talked about this, you're talking about looking forward to getting back into the game, is that I think in my mind, because they're in the same engine, I had blended some Majora's Mask things into this. Like this has some weird darkness. It has not nearly enough weird darkness for my taste.
Yeah. It seems like the world under Ganon would be, would have more different about it than like a lake is frozen and a mean guy got control of the ranch.
Luigi owning a ranch is not a crisis. Like giving Luigi a ranch is not the kind of thing I want in a dystopian future.
Right.
It doesn't have that kind of like tone to it. Like there are moments where it comes through, like being in the town square, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
But then you go to Kakariko Village and there's those two fucking idiots laughing.
Yep.
That have been there the whole time. Pointy faced morons, just like having a ball. And I'm like, the world's going to die. And it's, I talk about things that got, that I don't like in Zelda that got started here. That was my big thing in Breath of the Wild too. Like, why does every town I go to, why is it a verdant paradise full of happy people? I get that you were going for a very gentle, sweet hangout vibe all the time, but it undercuts my sense of stakes.
Yeah.
To have everything be quite so idyllic. As it is. And it's a bummer. Like I don't need, Link to be like, I don't need like Spec Ops the Link, I'm not like asking for that. I just mean like Majora's Mask is what I'm asking for.
Yes. Yeah.
Which we will do someday, even though I need a long break because that's not going to be any more fun to play. It's going to have awesome atmosphere and stuff, but it's going to have all the same mechanical problems, I think. So going to need a break before Majora's Mask. But that will at least have some tone.
Yes.
To it.
Yeah. Something about this that, was really impressive at the time, and I think still, tickles me a little bit conceptually, is this wide open world that happens here. Like, I don't know, stepping out into Hyrule Field from Kakariko Village, not Kokiri Forest rather, is still a moment that I hold pretty dear. And this just kind of wasn't really a thing on consoles. PC had Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall before this. But having this be a big open place where you could go anywhere and just kind of exist in the space and talk to people and see what they did at different times. That was cool. And it almost didn't happen for technical reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Like it is a cool thing. I mean, a lot of words have been spilled about how empty Hyrule Field is.
Yes.
Which I agree with. Like, I do think that needs more incident.
Yeah. I mean, so what you lose with that wide openness is, like, in Link to the Past and in Link's Awakening, the overworld is a dungeon in and of itself. Right.
It's full of secrets.
Yes.
In Ocarina, there's ghosts sometimes. And if you want to do the ghost collecting thing, which is tedious, you can. And that's kind of it. That it's very similar to that moment of coming out into Hyrule Square, right? Like, I agree with you. The moment of coming out there, having the music swell up, is a great moment. Like that tugs at your heart. Like that gives you the cadence of adventure and the feel of adventure very well. And then, but it's a Potemkin village. Like you go behind that screen, and it's just a big empty field. There's surprisingly few areas of import in this world. There's like a town, 3 dungeon hubs, a ranch, and a castle. Yeah. And a forest town. Yep. And that's basically it. Like, there's not a whole lot.
And I'll take this moment, understand the tension that we are living in, purposefully here, in important / innovative versus fun and satisfying. Yes. Like, the world has changed, the video games have changed, our experience has changed in these 22 years. And though this kind of started a movement toward where we are now, like, a little bit of that specialness is taken away because it is a worse implementation. Like, necessarily, it is a worse implementation than, like, a lot of stuff that we see here.
And it's not like when I was a kid, after that initial moment of, like, being impressed by Hyrule Field, I was just like giggling maniacally every time I was in Hyrule Field.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm a kid. When I was an 18-year-old man who could vote and die in war, it wasn't like at that time I was into the feeling of traversing this field back and forth.
Yeah.
Like you get the horse and it's more fun than if you didn't have the horse. But I still remember just being like, okay, this person told me to go here. I got to go here if I want this big sword. Let's go, and just, it still felt task-like as a kid. It's just those moments of magic showed really bright. Yeah. I feel like, and even as an adult, like going out to that part, and an adult, I mean now, it still feels really good. Like that moment is really special when you get out to the field. It can still feel really good blasting across the field on Epona.
Yes.
That can be a good feeling. I don't think the game would be harmed by having more incident.
Yeah.
In the field, and having the overworld feel like a dungeon, like you said, like it is in Link to the Past.
Yeah.
So the area has these characters. So some of them have side quests, unique problems to solve. The dialogue, does not have this weird kind of the king lives in the castle, over and over bit like previous Zelda games did. There's no like weird specific airs. Right. In the dialogue either. Like it's well translated for what it is. There's only a couple characters in this game I really like. There are a couple of them that I think are pretty fun. But you kind of have to vibe with it and recognize like, oh, this is a cartoon. Like these characters are working on a children's cartoon level. Yes. Of stuff. And again, this is something that would be totally remedied 180'd in Majora's Mask, where like the characters are much more likable and easier to get into, I think.
Yeah, they're much more relatable because they live in an existential crisis.
Yeah, like they're sad. It's not just the 2 laughing carpenters who have spent 7 years laughing like some kind of fucking curse. and just like, Ganon's going to kill everybody.
We're all going to die. Yeah.
We're all going to die. Whoa.
So, it's a big world, people to talk to. There is stuff to do. We talked about these side quests, like you can get a horse in this. Man, I remember there being more to do with the horse, Gary.
You don't do very much with the horse.
No.
I have like a crazy memory that was distinctly, it was the mini game at the Gerudo area, but I was like, oh yeah, you have to do horse archery at some point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's interesting. And one, it's less interesting because it's basically a rail shooter. But two, you don't have to.
Uh-huh.
Like it's just somebody offers it to you. Like in my mind though, that was part of a puzzle or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the ranch is very weirdly superfluous in this game. Like other than getting the horse, for the ranch and getting a couple heart container pieces. Like initially, in the initial plans, Luigi Ingo was going to burn down the ranch out of spite.
I love that.
I love that too. But then somebody said, like, what if people want to go back to the ranch? So, and it was like you could say no.
Yeah.
Nintendo, you can say no to somebody.
Yeah.
So instead you just go back there, and if you want to, you can race around.
Yeah. Jump over some fences. Yay.
Yep. Just stick a carrot, like smack the horse's butt with a carrot.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the like most gaslighty semiotic things in video games.
Yep.
Like it's literally the carrot and hitting the horse. Like it's literally the carrot and the stick, and you use up a carrot to hit your horse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You got to eat something to provide the energy for you to whack the shit out of that horse.
An animal. Yeah. Like it is so gaslighty. It's so weird.
Yeah. But there's other like long form quests that, take up a lot of the game. You've got, the mask trading sequence. You have the bigger run quest, like the FedEx quest that shows up again here. We're going to talk about those when we get to them.
Yes.
Again, the world felt more populated, and it felt like there was just kind of like more to existing in it back in the day. Like it feels weirdly like going back to Shenmue, kind of.
Sure. Yeah. Like, the big Shenmue vibes for all that's, worth. The, in general, like we'll speak about those things generally in kind of or more specifically, in a general sense, what I think that's doing or what that contributes to the game. And this plays into the slow opening, which we'll talk about, but is like a hangout vibe.
Yeah.
That the game really wants to have. Like the game wants you to set your own rhythm of like, hey, I feel like fishing now. Like I feel like taking a break. I'm going to go fish for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I feel like going to a dungeon. I'm going to go to a dungeon now. I think that's the intent. I think what ends up happening though, a lot of the time is it kind of preys on some completionism.
Yeah.
Kind of marks. And this kind of starts the, again, Breath of the Wild trait of making fun of the person who does completionism.
Yes.
In Breath of the Wild, you do all of the Korok seeds, you get a little golden poop. In this, you do all of the Skulltulas, you get $200, which is absolutely meaningless.
Don't spend it all in one place, buddy.
Kid. Yeah. You have nothing to buy left. Here you are.
Yeah.
The game doesn't want you to do these things. Mm-hmm. Like it is the messaging of the game is like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah.
But it still is a thing. Like everything that's written about this game, every walkthrough, every like bit of commentary is written with the assumption that you will do literally everything in it. Mm-hmm. And that hangout vibe to me, when it works, it's really great because it's like, I want to go run around this town and figure out what to do with these fucking cuckoos. When it doesn't work, it's very frustrating to me because it is the epitome of task. Mm-hmm. Like the FedEx quest to get the Bigoron sword, which I did because I remembered it being really useful for later bosses.
Yes.
I just like, okay, here's what I have to do. And it's like, sit down for 20 minutes and do the thing.
Yeah.
And it was just me going back and forth.
Just crisscross the map.
Nothing to it.
Yeah.
Just crisscross the map. Literally nothing to it. I don't like the FedEx quest in Link's Awakening at all. Like I think those are bad. And it became codified in the series. Like people are just got to have a FedEx quest. Mm-hmm. Why? I just don't know what this is adding.
It's the way we've always done it.
There's a lot of this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
Going on in here. And like I didn't end up doing the mask trading quest, and that is another thing where you get the Mask of Truth, which allows you to get gossip from your little clock stones.
Yeah.
Which fill in the backstory, which, is not something that's going to motivate me particularly in this game. And also that quest is actually really, really bizarrely like signaled. Like knowing the next step for the mask quest is, for a game as intensely guided as this, that part really lets you loose.
Yeah.
And does not feel good.
Yeah. So, in addition to those, you do have a lot of things to collect. You've got the, 100 Skulltula coins. The heart containers are always out there. I do think that like some of the heart container puzzles are pretty clever. And, specifically they felt really cool at the time, because they asked you to engage with 3D space in a way that you just couldn't before. Which is kind of cool. And a lot of them, do end up requiring using special dungeon items as keys to get them. Right. So what's funny is I still have my old, it was like a KB Toys, branded strategy guide for this. For Ocarina of Time, and I just like pulled it out to look at it. It has some really like the maps are very like beautifully drawn, which is weird. And I looked at the section with the heart containers and I saw like all of my pencil check marks on them. Yeah, I went and did all of these as a kid.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They remind me of like they're a more meaningful upgrade. I agree that sometimes the puzzles are good for them. Like I feel like, maybe a third of them are pretty good little tasks to get there. And sometimes the tasks themselves are inherently fun. Like, going through and gathering all the, it's not just a normal thing you'd be doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a checkbox thing. Like it's like, oh, I planted a seed in the past, so I get this heart container.
Yes.
So sometimes they're a little bit less than. One of the things I was thinking about this is that it has a little bit of the cadence. Like I had forgotten how collectathon-y 3D Zeldas had become.
I never lumped it in with your Banjo-Kazooies and whatnot.
I didn't either, but it has a lot in common with it.
Yeah.
Like it feels a little bit like packages in GTA. To me, just in kind of where they're hidden and stuff like that, especially the Skulltulas, which again, like I'm not really on board for the Skulltulas. Like I like the idea of them, but them being a reward for me doing something happens a lot in video games. And we talked about it before on the show where you don't know where you're going. You're pressing against the edges of possibility space because you're trying to find a way forward. You have a eureka moment. You can go into a new room, and then that room ends up giving you 1/4 of a heart piece or a Skulltula and isn't the way forward which you were looking for.
Yeah.
That can be a bad feeling.
Yeah.
And that happened to me a lot in this game. Like me making my way through a dungeon, being like, oh, okay, this is probably what I needed to do. I figured it out. And then going in there and just having it being a room with a Skulltula. And I'm like, fuck this Skulltula. I don't care about this family. Fuck these guys.
I mean, seems pretty cool to live as a spider for that long.
Yeah. Like they're having a good time. They live in a haunted house.
Yeah. Man, I would kill to be in a haunted house. In fact, I might have to.
I would die to be in a haunted house.
So, the move to 3D changed the dungeons as well. You have more verticality, like the idea that the dungeons are multi-story, like actually factors in on this quite a bit. Add some complexity. Spaces are kind of interleaved. You have rooms that are very tall that span 2 floors, etc. The thing that is a bummer about this to me, the complexity, whatever, the time tax for falling. Or for like, okay, like I got to the very top and I couldn't go further. I don't have the thing that I need. I'm going to have to drop down to the bottom and then work my way back up to the top, oftentimes through many like small satellite rooms, to get where he needs to go. Like that additional space and verticality makes backtracking more problematic than it was prior to this. Yeah.
So I agree with that. I also think that, and this is a, child link, adult link, child Gary, adult Gary thing, where those dungeons that are built to, like at the time this came out, 3D space was a puzzle.
Yes.
For the audience, right? Like, maybe you had been playing, Duke Nukem 3D and you could, this was not the case, but if this was new to you, like moving around in 3D in this way, like this was the puzzle, right? Yeah. So a lot of that stuff as an adult, that kind of additional complexity, it substitutes like things to do in that space with just knowing the space as a puzzle. And that's not a particularly satisfying thing to me. Like I love the compression of space, like in a Souls, right? But I think about the Undead Burg and how, first time it took me several hours to get through it, and now I can do it in 5 minutes. I would not love the Undead Burg if you were constantly falling back to the beginning of it and there weren't interesting challenges in the Undead Burg that I overcame. That feeling of mastery of the space comes not with knowing the space, but with knowing the challenges within that space. And the challenges in these dungeons are just not very interesting.
Yeah.
Almost universally. There are a couple of interesting puzzles. There is a lot of shooting an eye above a door.
Yes.
And maybe that qualified as a puzzle when you wouldn't think to look up. So, as onboarding for this audience, innovative, cool. As an adult, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why do every time I go in this room, I have to shoot this eye above this door? Like, I don't know. It's not asking very much of me, and it's making me slow down. And that's a bad combination.
Yeah. This is both not engaging and like keeping me from getting to the things that I would rather be doing.
The engaging part.
Yeah. And additionally, like, yes, the space is more complex, because of the additional 3D. Like, you're still going through it room by room. Like, it is quantized, down into these little, or compartmentalized down to these, discrete units of puzzle, combat, and navigation that actually
usually
does
one or the other.
Right.
That's the other thing too. Like, this is a point that I remember hearing. There's a famous video about this from, a guy, a YouTuber, whose name I can't remember, but he talked about how one of the big differences between this and Link to the Past is that in Link to the Past, you would be doing your traversal and puzzle stuff in the same rooms that combat was going on. Like, I have to light all these torches, but there's some enemies here. That kind of thing typically doesn't happen in Ocarina.
No.
Usually it's an either or kind of thing.
And we're back to our old bugbear modal play.
Modal play. Like, it's time for combat, time to stop and do combat, or it's time for puzzle, time to look for the torch I have to light or the eyeball I have to shoot.
Yeah.
And very, very little, do those two things interact. And it'd be where those interact is where interest happens. Like, you can demand more of me.
Yes.
And that's kind of a theme of my playthrough. Like, things I was like thinking as I was playing this is like, you could ask more of me. Like, I got more to give than this,
Yeah. And it's at this point that I want to remind the audience, we are an experiential podcast.
Yeah.
We talk about it as we experience it now. We are not trying to solely cast back to what felt new, back at the time. We are not intentionally holding down an old man and asking him, why his teeth are gone.
As kids, like, this, made a sense, to us as well.
Yeah.
Like, this stuff was kind of more challenging at the time. As of now, though, like that, and that is the essential contradiction of Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
Like, it's now I would like more. You can ask more of me.
Kid Cole, adult Cole. Yeah.
Yep. Let's talk about presentation and kind of the story presentation, because this is going to be a chunk.
Yes.
I got stuff to say about this. So this is a much more complicated story, and it is told cinematically.
Yes.
So what that means is that there are kind of artful camera angles. There are more cutscenes. There's a lot more dialogue and exposition. And that, depending on your proclivities, like, that will either be a positive or a negative. To me, it's surprising no one, this is a big negative. I think this game is far too talky. And what words are there I don't think are great.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, a game can be talky if the words are good.
Yeah, words got to be good.
Yeah.
I love talky games, but you got to have good words.
Yeah.
And this, it feels so, and again, I'm not shitting on anybody, because I think this is like a game that was made for like kids in 1998, basically.
Yeah.
It feels so kiddie. Like, the story and dialogue and everything feels so like cartoon aimed at a very young person to me, that there is like very little in the way of humor or subtext or kind of like complication of motive.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big twist with Sheik. Other than that, though, like, nobody lies. Nobody has a motivation that they don't state.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of the prophecy. Here's the prophecy, and here's how it's unfolding today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a bummer. Like, I'm not saying I want this to be Disco Elysium. I'm saying that
Right.
I want this to be Link to the Past, which is still have that stuff. Like you talk to the sage in the church. It takes a while, but then you go. And this stops you a lot to have she kind of pop down and do some purple, like Chris Claremont-esque prose
Yes.
about what's going on. And every single time that happens, like, I'm pretty bummed out. Like when the game is explicitly trying to be jokey, there are a couple of jokes I think are good.
Yes.
There are a couple like bits where the charm like actually works on me. You know, but,
Like Link's facial reactions to stuff are always very funny to me.
yeah, he's got a real like, you know, kind of it looks like a PETA ingredient when people talk to him about stuff. I can get down with that. Sometimes, but like a lot of the times even that stuff, you spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
Like I get that, the 7th level Innsmouth bride that is Rudo is snobby and then horny. I understand that. Is it that funny though? Like, is it that good? I don't know. Like we spend a lot of time on that. I get that the Gorons are bros.
Yeah.
Is it that good? Like, do I need to know all the Gorons and all of their little dialogue about being bros and like eating rocks? I don't know. Like this, it has a weird feeling of like introducing the Gorons and the Zoras as races in this feels a little bit like Sonic introducing his shitty friends to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I probably would have preferred not.
Yeah. I remember this being much cooler in Majora's Mask as well.
It is.
Yeah.
Like most of these things are cooler in Majora's Mask because that is a game that, you know, I think has all the same mechanical problems with some mechanical solutions. Like the time limit stuff is neat, but it is a game that has so much more weirdness and just like density of incident. I want to talk about how this game, its approach to onboarding and its approach to like a guided experience.
Yes, that is impossible not to talk about because the first hour of this was taken as a template for so many games.
Yes. Zelda and otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, like, and understand, Fee is worse. The opening to Twilight Princess is like 10 times more egregious than this. But like, there are a lot of anti-patterns that were established here.
Yes. You know, and I'm not gonna play Skyward Sword either. You know, I'm not gonna play Twilight Princess either. Like nothing would get me to replay those games. Like I never beat Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, but I'm not gonna replay those games.
No.
But even at the time I was frustrated by them because of this attitude where like, again, at its worst, like Nintendo is a company that sometimes feels like the absolute last thing that they ever want to have happen is someone feel lost for even a second about what to do about very basic things, but don't mind them being lost about like, who the fuck gets to see this mask? You know, like there are things, or like, oh, I have to play the storm song next to this tree, not the time song. And that causes a Skulltula to pop up. Why? Like that kind of stuff they don't need to explain. But the idea, like, you know, press A to breathe in, press B to breathe out needs to be constantly told to you.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird. Like, so Navi is obviously the poster child of this. And we have been through many backlash and forward lashes of Navi.
Yes.
Like, I've seen lots of takes like Navi's actually not that bad. I was complaining about Navi on Twitter and someone's like, what are you talking about? Like, she basically shuts up after the third dungeon. She doesn't though. That's like categorically untrue. Like what happens is she stops taking the camera control away from you.
Yeah.
But the listen never stops.
Listen. It gets worse in the 3DS version as well.
Because she wants you to go learn how to play the game through watching a video of someone playing the game at one of those little stones.
Yeah, or she's telling me to take a break.
Man, that take a break thing is so annoying. I hate her.
Yeah.
Like I hate this as a design philosophy. I think it's very vile to just be like, I think it's really inelegant.
Yeah.
Like the best way to tell a person how to play your game is to include a little goblin that tells you how to play the game via text all the time is a real failure of imagination in game design.
Yeah.
And like look at like things that get universally praised, like the beginning of Mega Man X, right? It teaches you how to play without talking. This is the opposite of that.
Do you think that they felt that the stakes were so high with how complex this was, you know, compared to previously? Like, you know, Link to the Past doesn't really have this problem. Do they think that they felt that if they biffed the explanation and people were unable to, figure out what to do, this game would get the reputation of being off-putting, alienating, etc., and it wouldn't succeed. So they doubled down and crushed the bunny in trying to make sure that didn't happen. That seems like the most that feels like the most logical explanation to me. Nintendo had so much riding on this.
Yeah. But they were so confident with Mario 64, which they had more writing on, being the launch title, and has a very confident tutorial.
Yeah.
That trusts the player. This is more complicated than Mario 64, arguably. Mario 64 has a way more acrobatic moveset, and I would argue that platforming in Mario 64 is more complicated and difficult than combat is in Ocarina of Time. But you could argue that this is more complicated just because you're doing more things. There's more verbs. But they overcorrected so hard on this. It is just, and it's a mistake to overcorrect as well as undercorrect.
Yeah.
Do you want food that's not salty enough or way too salty? I don't know. I'd prefer to not have either. They both suck.
Yeah.
And that owl, man.
Yeah. Kepora Gebora. Fuck that guy. I think that, I will engage in the, let's say, resuscitation of Navi's reputation if it means that any of that hate goes over to that fucking owl.
The owl does go away though. I think maybe when people are
he still pops up.
He still pops up,
kind of infrequently, but he still pops up.
He's not in dungeons though.
Yeah.
Navi is constantly doing a thing where I can be in Kakariko Village, and then I'll get a hey, and the screen is literally going Navi, 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 Navi. And I'm like, oh, this must be important. I'll click the Navi button. And you click it, and Navi says, didn't Princess Zelda tell us to go to Kakariko Village? And I'm like, you little twit. Where do you think I am? How does the game not have a flag if in Kakariko Village, have Navi not tell you to go to Kakariko Village?
Yeah.
That feels very basic to me. I hate her. And I think I hate her from what she does to your onboarding and your experience. It ruins a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because in these dungeons that could be kind of spooky, the most powerful antidote versus spookiness is whistling in the dark. Having something constantly talk to you makes things not atmospheric and lonely. See also Axiom Verge. And I don't like how she functions as a diegetic lock-on because of that time it takes to lock on, the way that she has to see the thing in addition to you. I think she's a failure on every level.
The lock-on isn't just a thing for combat too. She needs to lock on to things in the environment for you to inspect them or talk to them, or even more importantly, have your ocarina song affect it as well.
Yes.
She needs to turn green and hover around something that is going to be changed by the Song of Time.
Yes. Very frustrating. Imagine having, I can't see something until somebody sees it first. Which sounds like a Doom Patrol villain, but it's not. I just find her very frustrating. And everyone who told me oh, well, she basically shuts up partway through, it's you lied. It's not true. You haven't played the game in a while, because that literally doesn't happen. And just,
I trusted you.
I trusted you. Who wants to be nagged the entire time you're playing a game? Have somebody just going, hey, the whole, it's like I didn't take out the garbage.
Yeah.
And my mom is yelling at me to take out the garbage for the entire time I'm playing Ocarina of Time.
It's a lot. It is kind of a constant pebble in your shoe.
It is a pebble. It's only a pebble, but it's always in your shoe.
Yeah.
And you cannot get rid of it until the end, where Gen's you can't use your lock on for this fight. Fucking A. Wow.
Yeah. It's seems pretty important, buddy.
I don't understand. Are you trying to get me to like Navi? What is happening?
Oh man. Yeah. And just the process at the very opening of this, where, Navi, goes and rescues you, and it starts out you are a kid in the village. We'll talk about that, but just as, again, as part of the onboarding, very, very basic things are explicated, far too much.
Yep. This game starts off with, 3 to 4 sage guide characters.
Yes.
Or ends up with that between the tree, the owl, Navi, and Sheik. And the sages. You are constantly having a character guide you.
Yeah.
in this in a way that feels so and this is a tired point, but I think it's true, is so antithetical to what I experience in Zelda, which is that being lost and being me against the world.
Mm-hmm.
You have a powerful coalition in this game of advisors, and I don't want a powerful coalition of advisors.
No,
I want to be like dropped in the middle of danger and be myself and have fun.
I want to be the underdog. I want to be resourceful.
Yep. And this game doesn't allow that because that's not the narrative. The narrative is a chosen one kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And because of that increased, because of Nintendo's nervousness about anybody, even for a second, not knowing to press A in front of, the right thing, and Nintendo's, wanting to tell this story that is this grand cinematic scope, they threw out something incredibly valuable and unique.
Yes.
And left it out for almost the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
And then now everybody loves Breath of the Wild because it tried to gain back a little bit of that magic.
Yeah.
So
Link Between Worlds, man.
Yeah. Link Between Worlds. That gotta be the next Zelda. It's a good one.
It's so good.
It's really good. Fun game.
Yeah.
So aesthetically, in a general sense, the Nintendo 64 version has aged pretty poorly when it comes to visuals.
Yeah.
It does not look good.
Yeah.
Colors are really washed out. Link looks like a weird mutant. His adult Link gets this weird mega pointy nose. He looks like a ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah.
The frame rate is 20 frames per second, which is not good enough.
Yeah.
And
color display on the N64 was necessarily limited specifically because of memory, I believe. So it ends up being pretty washed out. All of that is technical. You don't have to play that version anymore. Because the 3DS update maintains the really cool and good art direction. So, you can actually see that iconic Zelda stuff is recognizable, right? Mm-hmm. And the 3DS update, somebody said something about it that unlocked this era of HD updates or whatever. The purpose of this kind of remake isn't to recreate the original, it's to recreate the way you felt about the original.
Sure.
And it accomplishes that.
Yeah, I think it's I think the 3DS version of this actually looks really good.
It does, yeah.
Not just good, in comparison or what have you. I was like, oh, this is a good looking game. Mm-hmm. This sells the majesty and spectacle of this very well. It's
colorful. There's a broad dynamic range of the palettes used in different areas and things. This is a game that can do Kakariko Village Kokiri Forest and the bottom of the well. And the art design was capacious enough to actually hold both of those. It's great.
Absolutely. It's exhibit 5 or 6 in why you should never play the original and just play the 3DS version.
Yes.
The inventory gains are well worth it, but this is also just absolutely huge.
Yes.
The soundtrack is really good. Mm-hmm. So this is composed by Koji Kondo, which he was working with at least the first 5 notes of any individual, or the first beginning measure
first few
has to be
bars.
limited to 5 notes. First few bars had to be limited to 5 notes on the ocarina, which is really cool. And he did a great job of that. They later go outside of the ocarina's range, basically immediately after the intro.
Yeah, you can't do any of that.
Yeah, I can't do that, but you can do the beginning of it. The soundtrack is really good, and a lot of the, when you go and see Zelda, the symphony experience in your hometown, they're pulling a lot of stuff from this.
Yes.
This kind of created a lot of the most famous Zelda songs.
Mm-hmm. And also
and some which are phenomenal.
Yeah. And weirdly, some of them are pulled from older games. Zelda's Lullaby predates this.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
And really weird, they don't have the classic Zelda overworld theme. They saved that for Majora's Mask. It's a very weird choice.
Yeah.
But that dun 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 dun, that doesn't show up that doesn't show up in this game at all.
It's 3 minutes into the Hyrule. They do a version or a quote of it 3 minutes into the Hyrule. They do
a little reprise of it, but it's not the theme.
It's not actually presented here. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Hyrule overworld theme is fine. I think that the killer tracks on this are the Song of Storms and the Lost Woods theme.
I love that both of those have been carried forward. Yes, those are obviously the strongest melodies from this.
Yeah.
And they have become iconic for the series. Song of Storms is so good.
Yeah, Song of Storms is phenomenal. This is my edit. That's going to show up.
Oh, yes.
So let's talk about development a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about this. It's real interesting. A lot of details have come out through like Nintendo Directs and things like that. Something that sounds intolerable to me is that though this was produced by Shigeru Miyamoto kind of concurrently with Mario 64, the actual directing duties fell to 5 people. Including Eiji Aonuma, who would kind of become the custodian of Zelda from this point forward. And his contribution and the fact that he became the lead actually explains a lot of why 3D Zeldas became what they became and stayed the same for so long. But like 5 different directors, each in charge of some important system, like that sounds like a disaster to me.
Yeah. That's not a, we come out swinging against auteur theory on this show, but this isn't what we want.
No.
The answer to auteur theory is not more auteurs, this sounds like it would be hard to work in, to me. This it was developed alongside Mario 64. It's a modified version of the engine, which we mentioned, and it was originally going to have its whole like travel to worlds through painting theme, which I would have loved. Yep. I think that's a cool bit of Mario 64, and the boss fight that plays with that is cool in this game. I think that is neat.
Yeah. The intention for this, because it came out, pretty well into the lifespan of the N64, the intention was to have this be the killer app, the system seller for the N64 disk drive. But there were lots of technical reasons why that couldn't happen. Primarily, the fact that they had so many different animations, which were incorporated using a lot of mocap data, they actually couldn't physically read it off the disc. So this could not be a game that existed solely on the N64 disk drive. This is good because the N64 DD was a commercial failure anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I would love to get my hands on an emulator. I mean, I could just do this, but I want to emulate that Mario Paint sequel.
Yes.
To it. I think that sounds really cool. So they ended up making this on cartridge with the plan doing an expansion on the DD called Ura Zelda, which is going to be kind of including some cut content and everything, but that ultimately became the Master Quest version, which, we briefly mentioned, we're not going to address the content of that in this episode. It is a dungeon remix.
Yes.
And on the 3DS version, it mirror flips the world to kind of mess with your muscle memory.
Yeah.
And apparently the Master Quest dungeons are good in this. I just was not hungry for more Zelda, so I'm not particularly interested, but my understanding is that they're pretty good. So.
Yeah. And that eventually came out. We're going to talk about the release of this later on. This was the largest game that Nintendo had released to that date. They tried to keep it on a 16 megabyte disc, but it came out on 64 megabytes, I believe, which is gigantic. This was a very expensive game when it came out, and it was also really hard to get a hold of. I have spoken with my family, with my mom, about the lengths that they had to go to get this for Christmas for me that year.
The people whose lives had to be lost.
Yep. Because I'm a fancy boy who needs to play his Zelda.
Yeah, good too. I'm not sharing with Chris. We talked about them making Z targeting, the fairy navigation system, aka Navi. So they felt like this needed a diegetic explanation. And the in-game cinematics are handled in engine instead of being pre-rendered. Which allowed them to change the story lane development, allowed them to keep space down, and is ultimately a good choice.
Yeah. I cannot imagine how heinous and blurry the pre-rendered versions of this would be. Well, in fact, I can go back and look at the the N64 version of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a kind of beta footage of this as well that has some of that kind of steez. If you want to find that, if you could look at Unseen 64.
Yeah. The
videos and stuff.
The N64 is just a nightmare of a system.
I don't like that system. There's some good games on it.
As revealed by the fact that this is the third N64 game we've done, maybe.
Yeah. What have we done?
We've done Pokemon Snap.
We've done Paper Mario.
Yeah, Paper Mario. Some of the Mario Golf kind of counts for that, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of all those games, Pokemon Snap and Paper Mario, I like quite a bit.
Yes.
But in general, like the Nintendo 64, and I like Mario 64. I know I keep saying that, like, not the biggest fan of it. I just think the back half of it's not very fun.
Yeah.
The first half of that game is magical.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart 64, I have a lot of affection for.
Spent a lot of time with that.
So there's good games on it, but it's this and the GameCube are rough. Even though, like, I mean, just this is getting ahead. The next thing we're doing is Luigi's Mansion. That game's delightful.
That game slaps. It's so good.
God, it's so good. I had no idea. Like, I remember playing a little bit of it on GameCube and being like, oh, okay, well, this isn't really what I'm looking for. And it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because that game is funny. Like, people who think I'm immune to charm, you just wait for that Luigi's Mansion episode, because that game has charmed my fucking dick off. Luigi has done it again. It's like the game that made me like Luigi. Like, I'm so into it. I'm having so much fun with it.
Like, it is shocking to me that Mario is still the headliner.
Yeah, Luigi should have taken Mario and drawn him in a toilet after this.
Until the bubbles stopped.
Until the bubbles stop. Oh no. The Super Fratricideo brothers. Like, I love that game. I think that game is just amazing and charming and fun and good.
Yeah.
It's like my second favorite GameCube game or something like that. It's really up there.
It's very good. I've played like a little bit of all of them, but I'm ready to do a series dive now, actually.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not immune to charm.
Yeah. A little bit of a preview for there. Lest you think that we are completely devoid of joy.
Yeah, we're not. This had some cutting room floor stuff, like some things they had concepts. We talked about the painting thing. That was part of it. The NPCs were supposed to have schedules. Yep. This made its way into Animal Crossing, interestingly enough, and then also was a huge element of Majora's Mask, when you even have like a scheduling app in that game.
Yep. Yeah.
One of the weirdest things about this is the idea that it was supposed to be a first-person game and then go into third-person for combat.
That is so wild. That is crazy.
That's really, and the reason they didn't do it is wild to me. Like, it's literally the guy who did the model for 3D Link was like, you don't get to see him enough. and that was the concern. Like, it wasn't like, hey, this would play weird.
Yeah.
It was, I want my work to be shown off more than just in combat. And I was like, man, what, like Japanese in-house development culture is weird.
Yeah, you can say no. Give them something else. Yeah, you can negotiate with them. Like,
not that I wanted this to be first person, but it would have been strange.
I prize weird now. So
yeah.
I
keep comparing this to Kingsfield when I was playing it. Because both of them are like, have that cadence of like being on an adventure, and like one that tells you nothing and one that tells you everything.
Yeah.
And how much I loved playing Kingsfield again. And it had so much more fun with it. Like, that would have maybe given a little bit more of that like atmosphere and steez, even though Navi still would have been just popping up and seeing like, hey, press A if you want a duck.
I think that she would have been, she was like a relatively late introduction. I don't know. So it was partly because of the developer protest, but like Child Link was also not really a factor in the earliest versions of this game.
Which is really weird because
it's kind of the whole thing. But yeah, like when they decided to add Child Link, it's like, okay, like we actually need to show this character, because otherwise the difference between Child Link and Adult Link will not be apparent enough, or it will not be,
just have taller.
Yeah, it will not be Nintendo obvious. Yeah.
Yes. The game was also supposed to have dating sim elements.
This is so obvious when you play it as an adult eye. When you play it, look at it through adult eyes, aware of when a game is trying to process horny or get horny across. All of the women went up on Link's dick.
It's really unfortunate, because not only is he a kid in child's body, or kid in an adult's body, Adult Link is 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been bigged, and also Adult Link is canonically 16.
Yeah.
So this is incredibly inappropriate, and I don't like any of it. Like, I don't
in
like
Zelda times.
In Zelda times, they didn't have those kind of laws. I just don't. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel very Zelda-y to me. This is the beginning of the idea of the great fairies being like Greek sex goddesses. And I looked back to the Link to the Past, because I was like, were the big fairies in that sexualized? And I just forgot.
No.
This is the first game where it's like they are sex pots who moan the entire time they give you items.
Yeah, they coo and they stretch their legs out in front of you and they spread them.
It's like cats. They're like a bunch of Rebel Wilsons and cats, you know? And I just think it's very strange. Like, you know, you could make the joke that like, oh, it's, you know, it's kind of cute because Link's out of his element and stuff, but it's just kind of humor that doesn't resonate with me. And I don't want Link to fuck.
No,
it's not what I'm here for.
I am here for him to explore different caverns.
Essentially, I'm here for caves, non-metaphorical caves.
Yes.
Like, you know, and that was the thing with Breath of the Wild where everyone was like, oh, he wants to fuck the Shark Prince. And I'm like, I don't, you know, what if you could just go on a fucking adventure for once in your damn lives?
Yeah.
Horny internet weirdos.
So something like, you know, just to psychoanalyze to psychoanalyze my own cohort. Okay. Like, you know, if you are, you know, in your early 30s now, this probably hit around the time of like a sexual awakening of kinds for you.
Sure.
And so like the reason that a lot of these characters are beloved or like there's a lot of like emotional capital invested in them, probably like I remember this, like, you know, I'm sorry, a story is actually pretty sad, but like for any number of them, it's like, oh, I can't be with my girlfriend because she's a sage now. Like it is a parade of potential girlfriends who are here to talk you up. Like this is a lane where you can feel important, to women if that is your thing. And I think that actually might explain some of the goodwill toward this. Not all of it, you know, but like it's part of the stew, right?
For sure. Like, because people were younger than me, like, they didn't have this Awakening with Marquee Post. They had it with the Zelda Vagiants. Of the fairy fountains. You know, the leaf-encrusted Vagiants of Hyrule. And like the idea, you know, and we could get into it and be like, well, you know, the idea that it's very sad that this person doesn't want to be your girlfriend because they have a career now is like, you know, how waypoint do we want to get? Like
they've literally like they cannot be with you because they have like they're spirits now. They leave the rest of the world.
They're stuck in the future.
Yeah.
They cannot be with you like in a widower way.
Right.
But then like I was reading the TV tropes for this and people were like, you know, unresolved romantic tension, some between Link and Zelda, or am I imagining it? You're fucking imagining it. Like he's 7 at the end of this fucking thing. Like I hate you. I just like, why are you doing this?
I remember
he's
it being
a tiny little kid.
I remember it being sad that they went on this adventure and he's got to go back and she doesn't know him. Like,
yeah, it's super sad.
Yeah,
but it's not sad because they have unresolved sexual tension.
Yeah,
like that's not the sad part.
Okay,
man.
Sorry, I rounded that up to a human emotion. Shit. Yeah,
like it's just no. I'm talking about the TV this troper.
Yeah,
like I'm talking about the troper who is like.
No, I know.
Like
I took the word that you said and I processed it like it was you who was saying that.
Yes, I understand. It is understandable. Yeah. I just don't understand why sex has to be in Zelda. It's like it's real weird to have the sexual stuff when every single other element of it is a kid's cartoon. Like every other element of it is like less complicated and morally ambiguous than Pirates of Dark Water.
Yeah.
And then, however, though, here comes Sex Fairy. That combination is very strange to me. Mm-hmm. Like Charlotte's Web was real good. I loved it at the end where Charlotte fucking took off her panties and like rubbed her whatever spiders have into the camera.
Her book lungs.
I heard her book lungs in her mouth, like slathering her mouth parts all over my lap front.
Yeah.
Like I just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Ganon was going to be Shadow of the Colossus.
Yep.
You're going to climb up Ganon. They use this in Mario Galaxy and in Shadow of the Colossus. Mm-hmm. So, you know, but that was originally going to be the Ganon fight. Mm-hmm. The final one.
Mm-hmm. And if there are other cool production things about this, please understand.
There are.
Yeah.
This episode's already going to be a million years long. You know, by the end, if you're a child like listening to this, by the time you get done listening to it, you can have sex with whatever like gigantic Greek sex god fairies you want.
Yeah, I will take the Redead, please.
Yes,
they climb up on you. It's fine. Let's talk about the release of this. So this came out at a critical time for Nintendo. Like we said, a lot was riding on this. Basically, 1997 passed without a major first-party game for the N64. Like 97 was handed over to Rare, specifically with GoldenEye, right?
Yep, with your golden eyes.
Yes. And this game's reputation literally cannot be overstated.
GameFAQs does that best game of all time poll.
And it becomes just a
year.
huge amount of drama because everybody insists that games will never be better than they were in 1998.
Yeah, this was the winner of that forever. Until Undertale unsaid it.
Which is also wrong.
Yeah, which is also like best of all time. So this is and it really, really well reviewed at the time, really, really well regarded now. So this is the kind of the beginning because it was came about in the internet age. Not only does it have people angrily or peacefully cheering it on online, it also kind of started this weird splinter in the community. This is where the timeline stuff started.
Yep.
With Zelda, which is a whole ball of wax. There are people who care about the Zelda timeline.
I went and read about that. I just hopped on a wiki to see what it is. That is the dumbest thing.
I think it's one of the most asinine things in video games
because it's so not worth doing. Oh my God.
Like it could just be an anthology.
Yeah.
Of similarly themed things, folks.
Yep.
You could do this like Final Fantasy, as opposed to it all having to fit into one thing and there being like half A button presses and shit to like justify all these timelines. I find it to be a mess.
Yeah.
In a way that is, has zero interest for me is the most charitable thing I can say about it.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, this game like technically is really interesting because it is such a mess. It's, held together with baling wire and bubble gum. So this kind of expresses itself in two ways. ROM hackers have basically been going to town on this with, basically since ROM hacking was a thing, and lots of interesting kind of like remnants of early game concepts that are, basically just dummied out are still there. And you can go like, look at this. It's very well documented.
Like a range attack on your sword.
Yes.
For example, was originally part of the game. And you can enable that.
The other interesting thing is like glitch speed runs of this, especially well explained ones, are a sight to behold.
Oh yeah. So this speedrun of this game is under 10 minutes now. That's breaking news. Like that was news of I think January or February of this year.
Oh wow. Was that at AGDQ?
No. Somebody first did it like at home, like a streamer did it. So they're under 10 minutes now. And the way that you speedrun this game in a glitch percent, and there's all kinds of like interdrama in that too, whether this counts and stuff. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
There are things you can argue about online that matter, right? But the way you do it is very similar. If you've ever watched any of the TazBot stuff from AGDQ, where somebody in Super Mario World does a series of seemingly random actions to reprogram the game while it's running.
Yeah.
But humans can do it.
Yeah, just like there are invisible variables that you can just increment through different button presses that cause an overflow that make you slip through a seam in the world to get to places you should not be, to get items you should not be able to get. And like you have to have somebody explain it to you.
And now the sub 10-minute one, you just do those kind of things to make the credits play.
Yep.
To make the ending cinematic play. You never leave the village. Like you go, the most progress you make on the critical path is to get the slingshot because you need something you can aim.
Yeah.
And then once you have that though, you just go fuck around in the village for a little while until the game breaks and shows you the ending. And it's like 9 minutes and 40 seconds or something.
That's really funny.
And most of that is cinematic. Like almost all, because it's the beginning of Zelda Ocarina of Time, almost all of that is people talking. It's really wild to see. It's incredibly fun. This is a big thing on AGDQ. People do randomizer races. People do, different things like that. Like the speedrun scene for this game is incredible and cool.
Yeah.
You have to be really into listening to it because you just hear your guy do the hup, hup, backwards jump thing for the entire speedrun.
Yeah.
So a 100% speedrun is pretty hard to watch, I think. But yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. The game had to be reissued shortly after it was put out, because the initial release, included two things. The, design of the Gerudo flag, looked very Islamic, like it had a, crescent moon, thing like that. Additionally, the Fire Temple, track included Islamic chants. Contrary to popular belief, this was not changed because of outcry. This was actually changed because of Nintendo's, own policies about religious content. At the time.
Yes.
Additionally, Ganon's blood was made green instead of red in subsequent releases.
Yeah, I played it in the Red Blood version, which does make that ending cutscene
Different.
better.
Yes, different and better.
Yeah. So this game's been re-released a whole bunch of times. One of the most well thought of and highly treasured versions is the GameCube pre-order bonus for Wind Waker. So this was this is kind of pre virtual console.
Yeah.
And probably really good Nintendo 64 emulation. So this was a way to play this game just kind of in general, but it was also people's first version of first access to Master Quest.
Yes. Like we said, that is Dungeon Remix. It's supposed to be harder. Weirdly, the Master Quest version of the Water Temple is easier, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Just because it ends up being less complicated, and that dungeon isn't necessarily about combat very much.
No.
Things like that. When I worked at GameStop, when this, like, when one of these came in, it was like, it was an occasion because like people would see that it was in stock, and then there would just be a rush toward it and like requests to hold it and stuff. It was like a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of these at one point and sold it.
Oh, well.
Probably to a GameStop.
So it goes.
I don't care. But,
yeah. So as we said before, in 2011, this game was remade as an early killer app for the 3DS, not launch title, but launch window. And like we said, this updates the graphics and maintains the art direction. Weirdly and coolly, it maintains a lot of the glitches. Like they saw, especially some of the more benign, non-game breaking ones as like a part of the original experience. So they tried to replicate them, which I think is admirable and cool.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. And also like it fixes the inventory to a certain degree. The touch screen makes a big difference. Having that map down there is really cool. Gyroscope aiming is much better than I expected it to. The 3D is unviewable because the 3D in the 3DS was never actually good.
I fucked around with it a little bit. And I think that the 3D in the 3DS is generally as good as 3D on a 2D screen can get.
Yeah.
Like I know that when you say something as good as it can get, it's just a way to be a fool in the future.
Right.
But like I'm not really interested in 3D on a 2D screen. In a general sense, and it works pretty well. It just it doesn't feel good moving a character through it.
No.
Like I would turn it on for cutscenes this time around, and it looks like cool 3D. Like I unfocus my eyes and it looks good.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I'd play a game in it.
Yeah. It also might be something about my eyes. Like it gives me a headache if I look at it for more than 10 seconds, but
yeah. Which is common. That's like, a common complaint of it. I've never had the game in which I've had the 3D work the best for is Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
Resort or whatever.
It works well for Pilot Wings, and it's actually worked pretty well for me on Super Mario 3D Land.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yep. So that this version has Master Quest. It also has a boss rush mode you can unlock, and it is by far the version you should play. Yes,
it's $20. 3DS. You can get a hold of a 2DS right now. That will suffice. It's just the best way to do it. So,
yep. So that's going to be it for our generalities. Longest generalities ever. We are going to put in a little break, and then if you're hearing this, it is because you're not a patron. This is on the public release feed. If you want to hear the full episode plus a bunch of other extra stuff, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us $5 a month. You get all of the old premium episodes of Watch Out for Fireballs, a year's worth.
Yep.
Some of our finest work is in there.
Yeah.
As well as a bunch of other bonus shows and bonus perks.
Yeah, you get a lot. We think we designed it to be generous. So
yes,
yeah,
and we appreciate you.
Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you there, and if we don't, we will see you next week.